If you love your morning coffee, but you find yourself running to the bathroom all day long, I need you to stop scrolling for the next few minutes. Because what I am about to show you is not what your doctor has told you. And it is not what you have read online. Most people over 50 believe there are only two choices: keep your coffee and keep suffering, or give up coffee for good and give up one of the small joys that makes the morning worth getting up for. I am here to tell you there is a third way. There is a specific way to drink coffee, a timing, a temperature, a method, a rhythm that lets you keep the cup you love and support your bladder health at the same time. In some cases, significantly. I have watched patients go from 6 and 7 urgent trips a day down to 2 or 3 without giving up their coffee at all. They only changed how they drank it. I am a urologist. And for years, I have sat across from patients who were quietly heartbroken, believing they had to surrender the one small ritual that started their day. They did not. And neither do you. Stay with me all the way to rule number 4, because that is the one almost nobody talks about. Not your doctor, not the health articles, and it is very often the real reason your coffee is sending you to the bathroom. Before we begin, let me explain why this matters so much after 50, because understanding the why is what makes the solution actually stick. Frequent and urgent trips to the bathroom are not just an annoyance. They shrink your life in 100 quiet ways, and they do it so slowly you barely notice. You stop taking the long drive to see the grandchildren. You choose the aisle seat at church so you can slip out. You sit through a movie half listening because part of your mind is already counting how long since you last went. You wake at 2 in the morning and again at 4, and you drag through the next day exhausted, and you tell yourself this is simply what getting older feels like. To tell you that in a great many cases, it is not. This is far more fixable than you have been led to believe. Not with medication, not with expensive supplements in a bottle, but with something as simple and as free as how and when you enjoy the coffee already sitting in your kitchen. This is about your rest, your vitality, your freedom to leave the house without needing to plan for every stop between here and there. And honestly, it is about your dignity. You deserve all of it back. Before I go one step further, I want to introduce this channel. Welcome to our channel, where we share simple, evidence-informed health tips to help adults over 60 live healthier, fuller, longer lives. Before we get into it, I would love to know 2 things. Tell me your age and tell me where in the world you are watching from down in the comments below. I read as many as I possibly can because it helps me understand who I am helping and what troubles matter most to you. And if you have not subscribed yet, tap that subscribe button now so you never miss one of our weekly health talks. Now, let us get started. But first, I have to be honest with you, exactly the way I would be if you were sitting across from me in my own office. Nothing I share today is meant to replace your own doctor. Frequent urination can come from many different places. A urinary tract infection, blood sugar that has crept too high. In men, changes in the prostate. In women, changes in the pelvic floor after the years and the children. If you have burning when you go, or pain, or blood in the urine, or a fever, please hear me. That is not a coffee problem. That is a call your doctor this week problem, and I mean that with all my heart. And if you already take medicines, especially a water pill or anything for your heart or your blood pressure, please ask your doctor before you change your fluid habits, because those 2 things work together. I will say that again because it is the single most important thing I will tell you today. See your doctor for the serious signs. What I am about to teach you is for the ordinary, everyday urgency that so many good people over 50 simply learn to live with quietly for years. And for that everyday urgency, the cup in your hand may very well be the biggest single lever you have. Now, let me explain exactly why coffee troubles the bladder, because once you truly understand this, everything I ask you to do afterward will make perfect sense. There are three separate things happening inside you, and every one of them grows stronger after the age of 50. The first is the one most people already half know. Caffeine is a diuretic. That is the medical word for something that tells your kidneys to pull extra water out of your body and send it down to your bladder. More fluid arriving in the bladder and arriving faster simply means more trips sooner. That part is not a surprise to most of you. But the second thing is the part that almost no one is ever told, and it changes everything. Caffeine is not only a diuretic. Caffeine is a bladder irritant. It does not merely fill the bladder faster. It actually reaches the muscle of the bladder wall and stimulates it directly, making it twitch and tighten and squeeze before it is anywhere near full. That is the sudden, urgent, cannot wait feeling, the one that makes you stop what you are doing and rush. That urgency is not your bladder being full, it is your bladder being irritated. And the third thing is the acid. Coffee is naturally acidic, quite acidic. And when you pour a harsh, reactive liquid onto the lining of a sensitive bladder, a lining that has grown a little thinner and a little more sensitive with the years, you wake up every nerve ending it touches. Now put those three together. A diuretic that fills you faster, an irritant that makes the muscles squeeze early, and an acid that inflames a sensitive lining. And you can see, plain as day, why a large, hot, strong cup of coffee taken on an empty stomach is very nearly the hardest single thing you could ask an aging bladder to handle. But here is the good news, and it is very good news. Every one of those three problems, the diuretic, the irritant, and the acid, can be softened. Every single one. And softening all three is exactly what the method I am about to give you does. Now, before I hand you what to do, I need to show you what not to do. Because most people over 50 are making these very mistakes every single morning without the faintest idea they are doing anything wrong. Mistake number one, drinking your coffee on a completely empty stomach. First thing in the morning, nothing at all in the belly, and a strong hot cup goes straight down into an empty system. With no food there to buffer it, the acid and the caffeine hit your bladder at full, undiluted strength. It is the harshest possible way to start the day for your bladder, and it is the way most people do it. Mistake number two, the all-morning sipping mug, that enormous travel cup that you fill once and then nurse slowly from 9 in the morning until noon. Now you tell yourself you are drinking less because it is slow, because it is just little sips. But in truth, you are doing something worse. You are bathing your bladder in a steady, unending trickle of irritant for 3 or 4 hours straight, and it never once gets a moment of rest to recover. Mistake number three, drinking your coffee too late in the day. That 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock afternoon pick-me-up feels completely harmless, but caffeine does not leave your body quickly. It can keep working in you for 6 hours, 8 hours, and some people even 10. So that innocent afternoon cup is still pulling on your kidneys and prodding your bladder long after the sun goes down. It is one of the leading hidden causes of that miserable 2 a.m. trip that breaks your night in half. And mistake number four, and this is the big one, it is not only about the coffee itself at all. It is about what you put into the cup and how hot you drink it. But that one is so important, it deserves its very own rule, so hold that thought. So now that you know exactly what not to do, let us talk about precisely what to do instead. I have broken this into 5 simple rules, and I want you to really absorb them because together they are not 5 random tips. Together they form one complete daily rhythm from the moment you wake until the moment you lie down. Rule number 1, never ever drink your coffee on an empty stomach. Always have at least a few bites of real food first. A piece of toast, a little oatmeal, an egg, a banana even. Food sitting in the stomach does 2 things. It buffers the acid, and it slows down how quickly the caffeine is absorbed and reaches your bladder. This one single change, food before coffee, calms the morning urgency for a great many of my patients all on its own in the very first week. Think of your coffee as the companion to your breakfast, never as a replacement for it. If you have spent years drinking your coffee first and eating later or not at all, simply flipping that order may be the most powerful thing you do this month. Rule number 2, drink it in one sitting, not slowly all morning long. Instead of that bottomless mug you carry around and refill, pour yourself one proper, honest cup and enjoy it, truly enjoy it, over 20 or 30 minutes. And then you are finished. You are giving your bladder a single, contained dose, followed by hours of complete rest. And that is infinitely gentler than an all-morning drip that never lets up. I promise you, a smaller cup that you finish and walk away from beats a giant one that you nurse for hours every single time. Enjoy it fully, then close the lid and move on with your day. Rule number 3, finish your coffee by early afternoon. Make your last cup no later than around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Because caffeine lingers in the body for so many hours, an early cutoff like this gives your system the entire rest of the afternoon and evening to clear it out completely long before your head touches the pillow. Now, if you are someone who loves a warm drink in the afternoon, and many of us are, well, this is exactly where a caffeine-free herbal tea earns its place at your table. A chamomile, a peppermint, a rooibos. You keep the ritual, the warm cup in your hands, the pause in your day, without the caffeine still working against you at midnight. Front load your caffeine into the morning, the very same way a wise person front loads their water. Rule number 4, and here it is, the one almost nobody talks about. It is not only the caffeine, it is the acid and the additives. There are 2 parts to this, and both matter enormously. The first part, choose a lower acid coffee and let it cool down just slightly before you drink it. A dark roast is naturally less acidic than a light one, and a cold brew is gentler still, far less acidic than a hot brewed cup. Lower acidity supports a more balanced, comfortable internal environment, plain and simple. And enjoying it at a gentle, warm temperature rather than scalding hot is much easier on the body. The second part, and this one shocks people, watch very carefully what you are stirring into that cup. Artificial sweeteners, the little pink packets, the yellow packets, the blue ones, are among the most powerful bladder irritants that exist, and almost nobody knows it. You could do everything else in this video perfectly, and if you are dropping 2 packets of artificial sweetener into every cup, you may be irritating your bladder more with the sweetener than with the coffee itself. If you must sweeten your coffee, a small spoon of real honey or a little real sugar sits far easier on the bladder than the artificial kind. So lower the acid, let it cool a touch, and get rid of the fake sweetener. Do that, and you have just removed 2 enormous hidden triggers that most people never even think to consider. Rule number 5, pair it and empty properly. 2 small habits here close the whole loop. First, drink a glass of plain water alongside your coffee or just after it. Now, I know that sounds completely backwards. More liquid to fix a bathroom problem? But hear me out, because the science is real. That plain water dilutes the harsh, irritating concentration sitting in your bladder, and a diluted, gentler urine actually eases the urgency rather than adding to it. Concentrated coffee urine screams at the bladder. Diluted urine merely whispers. Second habit, when you do go to the bathroom, take your time and empty completely. Do not rush it. Do not cut it short. A bladder left half full simply sends you back far sooner. And please, I am begging you here, do not fall into the habit of going just in case, over and over, out of fear. I see this constantly. Every time you leave the house, before every short car ride, just in case. That habit, as understandable as it is, slowly trains your bladder to signal at smaller and smaller volumes, until a bladder that once held comfortably for hours now complains after a single cup. You can untrain it, but you must stop feeding the fear first. If you have made it this far with me, you are truly serious about taking your life back, and I am proud of you for it. Now, most people watch a helpful video just like this one, nod along, and then forget to subscribe. And they miss every bit of future advice that could have genuinely changed their weeks and their nights. If any of this is helping you, please take just 1 second right now to subscribe. It is completely free and it keeps this good information coming to you. Now, let me show you exactly what all of this looks like across one real ordinary day so you can picture yourself actually living it. In the morning, you eat a few bites of real food first, always. Then you enjoy 1 proper cup of coffee alongside your breakfast, and you set a glass of plain water right there beside it, and you drink that too. Through the mid-morning, you are already finished with coffee, and you are sipping plain water instead. If the early afternoon comes and you truly want 1 more cup, you make it your last, and you make it before 1 o'clock, no later. And later in the afternoon, when the craving for that warm ritual returns, as it will, you reach for a caffeine-free herbal tea instead of another coffee. All through the day, plain water is your steady companion. And every time you visit the bathroom, you take your time and you empty completely, never rushing. Then in the evening, no caffeine at all, none, so that your bladder and your sleep are both finally left in peace. That is the entire rhythm, start to finish. And notice, please notice, it is not about giving up the thing you love. Not once did I ask you to pour the coffee down the drain. It is simply about being a little wiser, a little gentler with how you enjoy it. And I want to be completely honest with you now, because you deserve nothing less than the truth. For some people, the coffee is only one part of a larger story. If you follow every one of these 5 rules faithfully for 2 or 3 weeks, and you find you are still rushing to the bathroom all day long, or if you find yourself waking up frequently throughout the night, that is certainly a topic worth discussing during your next visit with a healthcare professional. It could be the prostate quietly enlarging, as it does in so many men after 60. It could be a truly overactive bladder that needs a little more help than coffee habits alone can give. It could be something quite simple and very easily treated that you have been suffering through needlessly for years. You deserve real answers from a real examination, not guesswork. And certainly not another decade of silently rearranging your entire life around the location of the nearest restroom. Getting checked is not weakness. It is wisdom. So let us bring this all together now, because I want you to walk away from this video actually able to use what you have learned starting tomorrow morning. Here is your 5-rule method one more time, nice and simple. 1, never on an empty stomach, food first, always. 2, 1 proper cup in 1 sitting, not an all-morning mug. 3, finish your coffee by early afternoon. 4, lower the acid and drop the artificial sweetener. And 5, pair it with a glass of water and always empty completely. I know, better than you might think, what it feels like to love something small and to quietly dread it at the same time. To reach for your warm morning cup with real joy, and then to brace yourself for the whole long day of running that you believe must follow. Hear me clearly. You do not have to choose between the coffee and your freedom. You truly can have both. So here is my challenge to you tonight. Try this method for just 7 days. Not perfectly, none of us are perfect, just consistently. And then come back to this video and tell me down in the comments how many bathroom trips you were making each day before you started, and how that number has changed by the end of your week. I read every single comment, and there is nothing I love more than celebrating that win right alongside you. If this video has helped you at all, do me one small favor and hit that subscribe button, because next week I am covering the one common food that most people over 50 eat nearly every single day, a food you would never in 100 years suspect, that quietly irritates the bladder just as much as coffee does. You will not want to miss it. Thank you truly for spending this time with me today. Take good care of yourself. And here is to keeping the coffee you love and finally losing the worry that came with it. I will see you in the next one.